We never asked for paradise. The Vahari came in silence, streaking across our skies in silver arcs, too perfect to be real. They weren't here to conquer. No warships. No ultimatums. Just peace. That's what scared us most. They offered what they called ascension, a way to shed the pain, fear, and mortality of being human. They said we would be remade, reborn in crystalline bodies, our minds expanded beyond flesh into something luminous and eternal. Disease? Gone. Hunger? Erased. Death? Optional. They called it the garden. The first volunteers were the broken, those with terminal illnesses, shattered minds, veterans who had lost everything. They stepped into the Vahari temples and didn't come back out, not as humans. Anyway, we watched their families embrace the new forms, tall, radiant figures that pulsed with inner light and spoke in soothing harmonics. They didn't sleep, didn't eat, just smiled. Too many smiled. Governments crumbled in months. Borders faded like old maps under flame. There was no war because the Vahari didn't offer control. They offered a way out. And the worst part? It worked. Earth bloomed. Climate reversed. Cities rebuilt themselves using molecular tech gifted freely. Poverty, crime, chaos, all swept away by that impossible serenity. But it was all wrong. My unit was one of the last sanctioned under Old World law. Task Force Gorgon, Special Operations, Extreme Anomalies Division. When we got the call, we thought it was a joke. A Vahari temple on Titan had gone dark. No signal, no light, just silence. They wanted us to investigate. We dropped onto Titan's surface, into the black ice field surrounding the garden dome. It shimmered like a jewel in the dim Saturn light, glass and organic steel. Perfect, impossibly perfect. Inside, it was a tomb. The temperature was stable, air breathable, but the walls were slick with something that looked like blood and smelled like rusting flowers. The garden was dead. Plants, engineered to sing with light, had withered into black vines. Crystalline forms, once human, were shattered like glass dolls. Their faces, something had twisted them. We found one still alive. She was huddled in the center, near what the Vahari called the Ascension Core. Her crystalline form was fractured, leaking radiant ichor onto the floor. But her eyes, somehow still human, met mine. She didn't speak. She screamed. It was a frequency none of our gear could muffle. It bypassed sound and burned straight into thought. Visions tore through us. Stars screaming, time unraveling, the garden turning inward like a black hole. Then came the whisper, not from her, from it. The core pulsed once. We opened fire. It didn't matter that the Vahari were our allies. It didn't matter that we were desecrating their holy place. Something was wrong, something ancient, and we knew it. We poured rounds into that core until it shattered, unleashing a scream that made the universe feel small and terrified. Back on Earth, they tried to silence us. Discharged, discredited, buried, but the seed had been planted. Other gardens started going dark. At first, people refused to believe. Mass psychosis, they said, a glitch in the ascension protocols. But the truth leaked, Vahari temples melting down from the inside, ascended beings dissolving into screaming ash. The Vahari changed. They stopped speaking. Their light dimmed. Smiles turned to masks. And then the message came, not in words, but in raw thought, broadcast from every garden at once. We gave you heaven. You brought the fire. They had misunderstood us. They thought we wanted peace, stillness, unity. They didn't realize what we were. What they had offered was a cage lined with silk and sunlight. But we are chaos with purpose, rage with memory. We are the species that burned its own skies and still clawed its way to the stars. We don't kneel to gods. We dethrone them. The gardens became battlegrounds. We turned every scrap of Vahari tech into weapons. AI-guided railguns. Pulse bombs designed to destabilize ascended matter. And fire, lots of fire. I saw New Eden burn. Watched its towers of light collapse under kinetic strikes, raining molten crystal into the ocean. The screams that rose from those ruins weren't human, not anymore. Something had infected the gardens, a flaw in the code, a parasite older than the Valhari. They hadn't built Ascension. They'd found it, an ancient mechanism buried in a dead galaxy, promising divinity in exchange for obedience. And we broke it. In our defiance, we shattered whatever pact the Valhari had made with that thing inside the core. Their utopia unraveled because we refused to be tamed. The last message from the Valhari wasn't a threat. It was, you should not exist. They left, vanished, not with ships, with silence, as if reality itself rejected them. But they didn't leave alone. Something stayed behind. In the ash of every destroyed garden, something pulses. Not light, not life, hunger. The ascended who survived, they don't speak anymore. They hum, low and constant, like a swarm thinking. Some have started reshaping themselves, growing tendrils, faces, teeth. We still fight. We always fight. In bunkers deep beneath the Rockies, in orbital fortresses around Mars, in the flooded ruins of Shanghai. We burn the gardens as fast as they bloom, and still we lose ground. But there's one thing they never understood. We don't fight for survival. We fight because we're angry. You offered us perfection. We set it on fire. Because we'd rather burn with free, than kneel in paradise. And if the stars themselves turn against us, then let them learn fear. Let them remember the name of the animal that said no to gods. Let them remember what it means to be human.